Can I have a roll call of participants, please?
Chris Peisch, present.
Kathy
Chrissy
Forrest, present.
Kathy,
Chrissy Francona here.
Kate Snyder here.
Ardomas are here.
Susan Franklin present, and Ralph Thomas. Okay, excellent. All right. So the meeting today is to go over all of the items that we have been presented and to vote on them. And Michelle's going to put the warrant up on the screen. Michelle, did you have time to go through the spreadsheet and make sure that our numbers were all aligned, or you're just going to correct them along the way? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't have time to go through your spreadsheet.
I think that I matched yours, but
I mean, if it's what we had in the past, then nothing has changed.
mhm.
So let me share my screen. The warrant is forever a changing document, so I want to make sure I pull up the most recent one. Susan, do you want me to pull up your spreadsheet or the warrant? Because the warrant just has dollars in it.
Why don't I pull up the spreadsheet so then I can modify it as we do our work.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Center right here on my screen. All right, so I guess we'll just go in order, unless anybody on the committee prefers that we look at one particular area department first.
The only suggestion I might make is that, if there are very easy ones, obvious ones, that might be recurring, for example, just immediately get through those so that everything you know you're going to do because you've committed to them in the past, you just get them done. And then you
Okay.
go on to, whatever order you want. But I would think that would be that way, that the very hard ones with very large numbers come last, but the easy ones come on right away. So
Yeah, you're right, Ralph. That's
Yeah.
traditionally how we have gone about it.
yeah,
All right, so the library door, is that considered one of the easier ones?
well,
It's non-recurring, right?
it's non-recurring. Yeah, it is somewhat.
Okay, you want to
depends on
stick
who
with the
pays for
recurring?
that is the
All
question.
right,
really.
yeah, let's do the recurring ones first, which are going to predominantly be
Yeah, so maybe like
public
police, the
safety.
taser, sorry,
Yeah, the
Susan,
police.
if we start at the top with police with the taser, because that's a reoccurring lease.
Yeah. So does everybody recall the TASER program? This is the third year of the 5-year program, which we've previously funded. Does anyone have any comments on it? Okay, and let's have a motion.
Motion to approve.
I think our motion has to include what we're approving. We have to say it out loud. So, motion to approve the third year of the 5-year TASER program for the police department.
You might even put the number in. It's like 20,000.
That's right.
235,
In
right?
the amount of
Yeah.
20,235. Second, anybody?
Chris Peisch, I second.
Okay. All right, vote.
Kathy Forrest, aye.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Rob
Chrissy
Casemeyer,
Francona.
aye.
Chrissy Francona, aye.
Susan Franklin, aye. So that's 5-0. All right, put that in. Where's the vote on this thing? Voted. Some of the this column seems wrong now. I'm sorry. The comments are in the voted column. I don't know how that happened.
Looks like
All right,
maybe they're
so-
just merged.
No,
Susan, I'm keeping track of them. I can update it after if you want to just keep rolling forward.
yeah,
Yeah, I revised this chart
Yeah.
to create a column that was very clearly what we spend, but it's not here. So I didn't publish it, right?
maybe I'm pretty sure I opened the correct one. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I opened this one. Yeah, I don't know where the column went, but that's the one I opened, but let's just stick with it. And so the spend would be here, so 2235. All right. All right, so the second one is the police car replacement program, which again, that's the program where they replace vehicles. And I don't recall, I believe it's 2 vehicles this year in the program.
It is. Yeah, it's 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Does anybody want to put forth the motion, or we want to just follow the pattern here? Motion to approve the purchase of 2 frontline vehicles under the police car replacement program in the amount of 139,000. Second, please.
Second,
Vote.
Rob
Kathy
Casemeyer,
Forrest. Kathy Forrest, aye.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Susan Franklin, aye.
I'd like to abstain on this. I don't have enough content. I think it predates my involvement on the committee, understanding the full replacement program.
Okay. So it's for. How do you do it? Is it 4-0 and then one abstain?
401, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. The next one for the police department is the radios, which these are to place inside the 2 vehicles we just bought. So those of you who recall that were part of those meetings, or have been able to review the materials since presented, can vote on that one. So motion to approve the purchase of mobile radios at a cost of $8,500 for placement inside police vehicles. Second.
second,
Okay, go ahead and vote.
Kathy Forrest, aye.
Should we put a number in again? 8,500?
Oh, I did. I said that to approve the purchase of police vehicles.
Yeah.
I mean, police radios.
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Chrissy Francona, abstain.
Susan Franklin, aye. Okay, so once again, that's
Kathy Forrest, aye.
Kathy. Okay. So other reoccurring ones include
The school bus program.
There's all my references.
So the school bus program, Susan's one of them. Replacement of furniture is another.
Yeah, I'm just don't know how to read
Projectors.
all the comments that were in the spreadsheet, but sorry, I'm gonna open the original one, see if I can grab them. Yes, I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in here because I don't know why. The other spreadsheet's screwed up. Okay, whoops. All right, so schools. Schools, yep, we've got 5 recurring for the schools, and I'm just gonna see what else is recurring, just so we know. That would be it. Those are all the recurring programs. So I guess we start with the bus lease. I think on your spreadsheet you have these 2 combined,
I do.
or you have 3 of them combined, right? Into
Well, I have a total, on my spreadsheet in the warrant, I have bus lease 8 diesel buses to 10 buses for 196, 236.
yeah, see, I have them as 3 items.
Okay, that's fine. We can separate them.
I don't know why they.
Is it the same dollar amount?
Yeah,
Yes.
196. 236. Do you care if we vote them individually or?
No, and I can separate them in the warrant as well, so if
Okay.
that's how you want to vote them, let's vote them that way. Then you can keep track of bus 10 and bus 11. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I think it's just easier that way.
That's fine.
Okay. Does somebody want to do the motion while I'm fixing the fact that there's something wrong with the spreadsheet? It doesn't have it this way in the other spreadsheet. This is kind of a pain. We're missing one. I don't know how we diverged, Ralph, when you sent that other one back to me, but some of the line items aren't the same anymore.
Well, all I did was I just added a new column that just said spend. So, and then allowed you to deduct it from the available funds. That's all I did.
Yeah.
Make it more simple,
It doesn't
right?
look like that, but
Mine shows it, I think my current one, I've got my own up right now, shows it 151, 330 for the first one,
yeah.
22, 224 for the second, for the 2 out of 5 years, and year 2 out of 5 for bus 11 is 22, 682, and I just summed them. They sum to 196, 236.
Right, which it does here.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just the opposite
Yeah.
spreadsheet. That's all right. Okay. So let's go. Can I have a motion on the 8 diesel bus lease? Anybody?
Yeah, I move to approve the bus lease for 8 diesel buses for the year 4 of 4 for $151,330.
Chris Peisch, I second.
Okay. So Rob, Chris, Susan Franklin, I,
Kathy Forrest, I.
Kathy, I.
Chrissy Francona, aye.
Okay. Okay, motion to approve year 2 of 5 for bus number 10, the bus lease year 2 of 5 for bus number 10 in the amount of 22,224. Second,
Second,
okay, vote when we're ready.
Kathy Forrest, I.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Chrissy Francona, I.
Rob Casemeyer, I seconded it. So yes, aye.
Susan Franklin, aye. Okay. Okay. Motion to approve bus lease for year 205 for bus 11 in the amount of 22,682.
Second,
This is- Okay. Vote.
Kathy Forrest, aye.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Chrissy Francona, I.
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Susan Franklin, aye. All right, so 22,682. That's. Oops. All right. And this is the next one is the athletics or multifunction school activity bus, which is also a lease, year 2 of 3. Is there any commentary on anything before we just move to a motion? Okay. Motion to fund year 2 of 3 of the multifunction school activity bus in the amount of 22,034.
Second,
Second? Is that Rob?
yes.
Okay. Please vote.
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Kathy Forrest, aye.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Chrissy Francona, I.
Susan Franklin, aye. 22,034. Okay. The next one are the interactive presentation panels for the Osgood School. I think it's Osgood and Dare Hill. Yeah, Osgood and Dare Hill schools. These are the final purchases under this program that I think we started 3 years ago. This is the last rollout.
That's right.
Okay. Okay, so motion to purchase, I think there's 26 of them, 26. Interactive presentation, projectors, it's actually panels. Panels for the Osgood and Dare Hill schools in the amount of 127,689. Is everybody okay with the motion?
Yes, second,
Okay, vote, please.
Kathy Forrest, aye.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Chrissy Francona, I.
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Susan Franklin, aye. Furniture replacement. Just checking, make sure I got that right. That's one of them. Yes. This will be the last of the recurring requests. So is this really recurring? I don't recall. Did we fund some of this, Michelle? Or is this part of just the whole school furniture program?
We have funded it in the past, but it could be, it may not be recurring. Let me make
Yeah,
a.
I don't believe
Yeah.
I don't believe it's recurring.
The
I don't think
furniture,
it- Yeah,
Yeah.
the furniture, we agreed to approve $35,000 a year per school until we were able to outfit all of the changes. And that happened probably about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. And that, I'm sorry, Michelle, but I just want to clarify that that was for non-student furniture, or does it matter?
It was, well, it was for non-student furniture.
Okay. Any questions before putting forth the motion?
Well, let me make a comment on this thing and where we are, because now that we have more or less the recurring in place, what remains of the available funds is the real questions, because you've really got some big ones coming up. And so you have to start to say, well, what of the big ones do you want? Let me give you my own thinking on this quickly. All I have done is I've taken the original capital stabilization fund, which was 3,155,187, and I reduced that by 1,125,000, and the 1,125,000. The reason I did that is that what I would call the stabilization fund reserve. That is what's left over that we try not to spend, so we have some reserve. So the net, what happens is you end up having the ability to spend 2,030,187. Out of that, with the now recurring having been voted on, we have 1,516,493 left. Okay. But you know you're going to probably have some very big ones like the 1.2 million for the fire engine if you choose to do that. That leaves you with around 300,000 left. So, I mean, you have to start to look at what now big ones are you absolutely going to do, and then what, because if it takes us into a less than my 20 million number, if you go a 2 million number, if you go below that, in other words, you're spending more than you're spending into your reserve, you have to know you're doing it.
Yeah,
So
we have traditionally kept
yeah.
about 1 million in reserve.
Yeah, I put
every
1,125,000, but it could be 1 million. It's a somewhat flexible number. But anyway, I'm just trying to warn everybody. If you start to piecemeal things now, instead of looking at the very big ones and saying, are we buying those or not? And then looking at the smaller ones later, you might know where you really are. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. You don't have to, but I think that's how I'd look at it.
Well, it is how we've traditionally looked at it. So this is really for the people who are newer on the committee. We try not to spend our fund completely down.
But for items such as $1.2 million, we always look into a borrowing for that. I don't know that we pay cash for $1.2 million.
No, we won't. So the way you have to deal with that, though, is what you have to say is how much of that and over what period of time. And so you reduce your budget, that is, you reduce your spend becomes the annual cost of the bond, and that's what you apply here.
Right.
So, I don't know how, in other words, you have to get yourself those numbers in order to actually figure this whole thing out. So
That's true.
yeah.
So for some of the new people on the committee, so we like to reserve a certain amount, but I think what Ralph is saying is that we would potentially to fund additional items have to bond them, but then that would come out, the cost of that bonding comes out of the capital budget committee. You know, a certain amount per.
Yeah, just the cost to
per
service the
bond
debt,
is.
you mean?
That's
Correct.
right. That's right.
Yes. So we're at 1,516,000 right now, reserving this and not thinking about bonding. So there are some very large items, the fire engine being one of them, which could potentially require that we bond. So where do you want to continue with the schools, or is there a desire to look at some of the other departments first?
Just quickly, Michelle, can you promote me? Thank you.
Kathy, are you there?
She's joining as a panelist.
Yeah, she was on a
I'm here.
Oh,
telephone
there she is.
for a short period. Okay, so back to the question. Does anyone desire to look at a different department or continue with schools for now? Based on the conversation we just had.
I mean, I think we look at the schools, but we could probably quickly get an estimate of a 10-year lease for a fire engine, right? Is that going to be difficult?
I'm getting that number now, Kathy.
Oh, perfect,
I
Michelle.
mean, yeah.
And just help me understand. So if we were to approve the 1.2 million for the fire engine, but we decided to lease, like how are we tied to if they decided, okay, we're not going to lease, we're going to buy, we would have to spend the 1.2 million? I just want to make sure I understand like what exactly we're committing to if we were to vote yes on that.
Well,
So we're not
we
looking at
would suggest that we do it subject to a bonding. So that we would have additional monies to use to fund other requests. So the source of funding would be in the motion when we suggest.
Okay, so the motion, so then it would only be approved for a certain type of funding, you're saying?
Yes,
Like they can then go out and purchase it if we said we approved it to, okay, thank you.
correct. Michelle, do you have a estimate of a bond? No. Ralph, what's your memory on these types of units in the past? I believe that we have bonded fire
Yeah,
engines in the past.
we actually recommend the bond,
Yeah.
and we consider the bond the amount you're spending in the year you're spending it. So if it's a 10-year bond, we agree that we're going to spend wherever per year, and those it becomes a recurring spending.
Mhm.
So it's a logical way to handle it. In other words, we only spend off of our capital budget committee fund that which goes to the bond. We don't spend the 1.2 million. In other words,
Yeah.
the risk on this whole thing obviously can be that someone decides to spend the 1.2 million, in which case the capital budget committee would go negative. So under these conditions, so.
Yes,
Right,
so that's what I was trying to
we would
understand.
specify
Okay.
in our
that's what you're
motion
saying.
that we would specify the funding.
We have
Okay.
to specify the funding in that case, yeah, right.
Well, I mean, back in the envelope, if it's 10 years, that's 120,000 a year plus whatever the interest would be.
Yeah.
So that gives you a basic ballpark of where it would potentially come out. So, Michelle, did you ask Linda to
I've
look-
asked. I haven't received the answer yet. I just looked
Okay,
at
so
my
we'll
emails.
come back to it, but everybody understands that's one way that we would be able to look at some of these other requests and be able to fund them is by bonding the fire truck.
Now, the risk in all of this, as you know, is it becomes a bottom line spending that you have to reduce whatever your allocation is each year. So automatically you're reducing your potential allocation going forward. So that's what happens. They become,
Yeah.
requirements to be included before you actually have actually funded anything
Yeah.
else.
You're
funding
taking it
all-
off the top, Ralph, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Every
and-
year. Okay.
Yeah.
And we
that's right.
worked
Yeah.
pretty hard over the last, say, 5 years because we had
Yeah.
too many bondings and so much of our capital budget stabilization fund was going towards debt service. So Ralph's correct. I mean, there's a balance. You want to use it, but judiciously because of the fact that it does significantly reduce the availability to fund other requests. All right, so let's go back then to the last reoccurring item, which was the replacement furniture for the schools. So before we do a motion, does anyone have any comments as to it before we put the motion on the table? No. Okay, so motion to purchase, to spend, to fund. Motion to fund $35,000 under the furniture replacement program for the schools. Second,
I second the motion and vote aye.
okay. Voting, anyone else? We have Kathy so far.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Yeah, Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Chrissy Francona, aye.
I'll have to call you back. I'm sorry.
Susan Franklin, aye. Okay.
Yes, thank you. What about the performance risers? Do we want to do that one now? I'm in favor of voting for it now. I believe this was to a certain extent a little bit of a safety issue in that the current risers are in pretty bad shape and that the railings were not. I think one of them may not even have had a railing. Just for background. Okay, so motion to fund new performance risers for the Cohasset Middle High School and Dare Hill Schools in the amount of $28,481.
I second the motion and I vote aye.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Chrissy Francona, aye.
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Susan Franklin, aye. Okay. Michelle, we had asked Sarah to provide some more detail on the cameras after our conversation with Ron, and she was in Chicago visiting her son and asked if she could provide it after today's meeting. So we'll probably be voting for that one in the next session.
Okay, fair.
Okay. All right, so back to the top here. So we have all of DPW and the library doors. We have the replacement of devices for the school and actually town and school and some rec requests. So why don't we move towards the device replacement for the schools, which was the 58 devices that are under the school's device replacement program, which had been being funded under the operational budget, but there was a request this year to have it be funded through capital. And that request is primarily due to the budgeting issues that we were having with the schools. Do you want to elaborate on that at all, Michelle?
Sure. So when the schools came to us with their growing deficit and the potential layoff of educators, we identified this item as something that was funded by capital in the past. And then we moved it into the operating budget a year or two ago. We're asking that this be funded by capital again to free up that funding to keep the educators' positions in place.
Okay. And this is a one-time ask, right?
This is a one-time ask, yes.
Under capital permanently. Okay. Does anybody have any comments before we move forward?
I have a comment, Susan, just related to my position on this. I don't know if it's appropriate to give that now or after a vote.
No, it's fine.
Okay. I'm certainly supportive and am dismayed at the school committee or the budget this year for the school from an operating expense perspective. Generally, I think it's not a great precedent to move things between operating and capital. So I just want to make that comment before I place my vote.
Yeah. That's why I asked if it was a one-time ask, Chrissy, but thank you for your comment.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Chrissy. This makes me a little bit nervous that we're moving things from one to the other just because of a particular issue. Obviously, we need to get the devices replaced, but I wouldn't like this to set a precedent that we should be doing this all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think the reason this was absorbed into the operating budget originally was it is a true operating cost. And at the same time that this was absorbed in the operating budget, I think an argument was being made for the bus lease and all the other ongoing um, leases and expenses that are being absorbed by capital for the school department. Um, so I think this was one of the first ones that we took off because it was a smaller amount, and was able to be absorbed. But I think this started a whole larger conversation. Ralph, you can probably recall, and we were talking about, if buses truly are for the schools, why isn't that in the operating budget? Susan, you may recall the conversation as
Yep,
well.
I do. I definitely recall it.
Yeah, the real issue is an accounting issue. And the other one, of course, are these really capital, and do we actually account for them as capital? And that is in our general assessment of the capital of the town. And the second one is the distortion it creates. In other words, the actual cost of running some of these departments is not really included in the departments, and even though they're essentially operating expenses. So, at some point, we're going to have a real discussion about all of that and what we do about it, because it is not appropriate to have these some leases are included in budgets, some are not. There's no consistency right now. So,
Yeah, that's correct. And Ralph, this goes back to our conversation we had on Thursday, is when we have this new assessment done, when we commission this new study of capital assets and operating expenses and things of that nature, I believe these are the things that they'll also look at for us, and see where they're best suited to be funded from.
yeah, and also we can't do a benchmark study unless we're sort of doing the same things other communities do. In other words, in order to have apples and apples comparisons, it's very hard to do that if some are including things in capital and some are including it in operating. So it's really quite a mess, as it turns out, as we're now doing it.
Just a quick question though, these devices aren't part of the lease program. These are outright
No, they're
purchases.
not.
No, they're the acquisitions, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not only is it awkward to know, Ralph, to know whether or not we include them in as a capital and the other communities included them as a capital or operating, but in our case we go back and forth.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I think doing the study is a great idea, but I also don't think that other towns have had circumstances where they've had to do the same thing. But we should probably have some kind of policy around it.
Well, just as a side comment, Susan, every division of every company says their division is special.
That's true. Okay. All right, then let's move forward. Motion to fund $46,500 for the purchase of the, I think they're all laptops, are they not, Michelle?
They are.
All laptops for use by schools and town. Do we have to add anything in the motion about this being a?
You can say it's a one-time cost
Okay,
if you
so, okay.
prefer.
For the one-time purchase. Okay, is everybody happy with the motion?
So moved.
All right. Okay, voting.
Kathy Forrest, aye.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Chrissy Francona, nay.
Chrissy, did you say no? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I did, yes.
Okay, Susan
Thank you.
Franklin, aye. So that's 4-1. Okay. Let's move on to either the library. The library has the book drop and the door that was put in for facilities, or we can move forward on DPW. Are
Let's
there
start
any
with the
questions?
let's start with the book drop, maybe.
Okay. Any comments on the book drop before moving towards a motion?
I have a comment. I'm generally very supportive of the library. My concern with doing this right now, I think this was my first meeting I joined, so I know there were other concerns that were mentioned, but my concern is just with opening the new pavilion, just understanding a bit more of the traffic situation before we're committing to doing something like this in the parking lot right now. And we do already have the book drop with the ability to just pull up and step out of your car in front of the library.
Okay.
So, I think this was a really well-researched proposal by the library team at the library. I do think it's really nice to have for both families who maybe have small babies in the car and don't want to get out of the car to drop off the books, but perhaps more importantly, elderly people or people who, don't want to be crawling along the sidewalks with the snow and the ice to be able to drop it off. So I think it's helpful for the community basically, and probably safe for a good portion of the community too.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Can move forward with the motion. Motion to fund an outdoor book drop at the library in the amount of 10,210. Is that the final number, Michelle? Because it was different than what they originally presented.
I have 10,210. Bronwyn is on. I'll ask her. Bronwyn, is 10,210 still your number?
I think we originally had put in for 11 just to cover any increases, but we could do 10,210 and because there was we'd have to do a cement apron. Maybe we could fund that out of something else. So if it helps with the numbers, I know you guys are trying to keep to what you have in your budget. We can go with 10,210.
How does the committee feel on the additional $780? Does anybody have?
We can just round it to 11.
Yeah, I don't have a problem rounding it to
Yeah.
11.
Thanks,
Okay.
Bronwyn.
Thank you.
Oops. Okay, motion to fund the outdoor book drop at the library in the amount of $11,000. Do I have a second?
Second from Kathy Forrest and an I.
Others?
Chrissy Francona, nay.
Sorry,
Chrissy was a no. Go ahead. Next. Chris?
Chris Peisch, aye.
Rob?
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Susan Franklin, aye. All right, let's see where we are. Okay. All right, we should probably. Okay, DPW.
Susan,
Yep.
I just heard from Superintendent Shannon, and she's going to join the call in just a
Oh,
few
okay.
minutes, so if we can get to those security cameras later on in the meeting, she'll be prepared to speak to them.
Okay. All right. So, outside of, this is the next largest single use purchase. We did have a lease that was presented to us for these as a possibility, 118,000 in a 3-year lease or 74 in a 5. That's on the sweeper. The message board, that's to replace one that's not functioning now. This was to replace the rims and tires on a truck that's specifically used to clean case basins. This is the John Deere is replacing a 1997 unit, and the yard tractor we already voted on.
So Susan, in regards to the Elgin Pelican Street sweeper, I mean, I would say the only way I would vote aye on this is with a 5-year or more lease. So I don't know what the rest of the committee feels about, instead of making that 300, making it 74 with recurring over 5 years. It just seems like a big outlay that it makes sense to finance it or even bond it.
Yeah, I do know that the lease quote is expiring. I don't remember the exact date, so maybe we should say up to maybe 75 or something like that, just in case it.
But what does the rest of the capital budget committee say? That was just my
Yeah,
thoughts.
no, I'm saying if we decide to do a lease, we should probably
Yeah.
say an up to number because it may.
Yeah.
Yeah, Susan, or excuse me, Kathy, I'm generally supportive in the same boat. Do we have the rates of those leases? I'm just curious.
Yeah, we have a quote for these for 118,000 on a 3-year and 74 on a 5.
Do you know what the interest rate is? I'm just off top. I don't know if that's easy to
Well,
find.
I know I'm thinking that we could probably bond it for cheaper than a lease, but
We
Yeah.
could.
You think we should just Michelle, would your recommendation be to include it in bonding?
I
Rather
would
than do
include,
a-
Brian wants to say something. I would include it in a bonding, only because our interest rate will probably be
Yeah, this is like 5%.
yeah, so
It
we'd
is
probably be at
annual,
4
it's
and a
annual in
quarter.
advance payment. And I believe that I believe I read that it expired in here somewhere.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi,
Okay.
it's Brian.
Okay, Mark's
So we got, last time we discussed this at capital budget, I think it was Ralph who had the comment, if we could get closer to what we pay contractors were last year was 53,000. So we went back to the leasing company and they gave us a 7-year option at, I just emailed it to you. I think it was about 56,000.
I'm sorry, Brian, I didn't see that email. That was this morning, Brian?
So I sent it previously and I just sent it right now, I think to you and Michelle. I didn't have everyone on the boards.
Compare it. See it. Okay, can you just, I don't see the email currently,
Yeah.
Brian, so can you just tell us the figure? So 7 years at what?
Stand by, I'm just reopening it.
And if you know the interest rate on that one too, that would
Yep.
see if it's
I have
the
it in
bid-
front of me.
Oh, okay, go
Sure.
ahead.
Sorry. It is
7 years at,
Yeah. 7 years at 5.28%. I think we'd be better off bonding this item. I think we'd get lower, probably 4.25%.
Yeah,
And we could bond it for 10 years versus 7, or we could probably bond it at the 5 years. It'll come in a lot closer to probably $60,000 at a 4.25% interest rate.
What is the lifetime of this vehicle we should expect?
20 years.
30 years.
Well, the current one's 30 years, but it's basically non-functional for the past 5. So I think 20 to 25 is safe.
okay.
And Brian, just a question on the contractor expense. Is that a fairly predictable expense? Like if we just outsourced this work every year, you said it was only about $50,000, right?
It was, yeah, 53 last year, and assume it may go up a little bit, but it's each year between, April and May before we stripe the whole town every
Yeah.
year.
And Chrissy, I believe that the issue with contracting is everybody wants to get their street swept at the same time, so it's often difficult to get it when you want it. So
Okay.
having the control of owning the vehicle and having the control is a good thing. So if we were to do the bonding, we would come out, Michelle, in the general neighborhood of what we were paying with contractors, assuming that 53,000 is probably going to be going up in cost as with inflation.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, so back here. All right, so are we ready to put forth the motion on this one? And we want to make it subject to bonding, correct? Is everybody ready on this one? Okay. So a motion to bond the purchase.
Sorry, Suzette. Sorry, I'm thinking through this. So, we're doing a motion to bond, but we don't actually know how much that is going to cost. Is there some, like, what if I know it's not going to come back, but what if it came back as $100,000 a year, which I know that's unlikely, obviously, but what is the process what are the guardrails in place from a cost perspective if we're voting just to bond without a cost associated with it?
Well, we can put a guardrail in the motion, put a limit on it, or we can wait to find out what the bonding is and then vote on it later.
I would be more comfortable waiting, just given that we're talking about, a limited budget. I don't feel comfortable voting on something that we don't have a dollar amount associated with it.
So if I could interject, the current pricing we have is for the lease to own. It's the value of the unit is $339,835 at 7 years, 5.28%, and the payment amount is $56,352.18.
Yeah, that's for the lease. Thank
So
you, Brian.
would we say bonding not to exceed the 56?
Yeah.
Yeah,
number?
we could do that because then
I
we
think
could
that's
aligned with the
we could
contractor
fall back
spend,
on the
correct?
lease.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we would own it after 7 years if we did that lease. Is that right, Brian?
Well, this is actually a full payout lease, so yeah, subject to the payments. You own it from the first day in a full payout lease, subject to you making your payments.
But
Because
after 7 years,
at
we would
the
own it if
end-
we've made the payments.
At the end of the lease, there's no like purchase
Okay.
option or anything like that. You own it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, so motion to fund the purchase of, okay, I can see, to bond the purchase of a $300,000 Alabama sweeper.
Sorry to interject again. So just to get the figures right, the exact purchase.
339,000, you're right.
Yeah, 835.
339, Brian?
Yeah, 339,835.
Okay, 339,835. Not such. Okay, so the bond with annual payments not to exceed. Not to exceed 56,000. And I don't believe that we have to designate the term then, Michelle, right? Because that will be determined by keeping the price under the
Correct.
$56,000
Yep.
limit. Okay. All right then. Second?
Kathy Forrest, second the motion, and I.
Okay,
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Chrissy Francona, aye.
Susan Franklin, I.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Great. Thanks so much, Brian, for your help on that one. All right, 339.
Shouldn't we
Oh,
put
yeah, we should
57,000?
We should just
Yeah,
put the 56.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on to the message board. Does everybody recall this one?
yeah.
Okay, so, motion to fund $20,000 towable variable message board to replace unfunctioning unit. I think I don't recall the date on the unfunctioning unit. Does anybody have that available?
What was the question, Susan?
I usually like to put in the what we're replacing, so let me just see.
Oh.
Find it. Sign. I believe it was pretty old. $20. 20-year-old unfunctioning board. Okay, do I have a second?
Second. Aye.
Okay.
Chrissy Francona, aye.
Kathy
Chris
Forrest, aye.
Kathy, that was Kathy.
Yes.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Susan Franklin, I. Let's just go back for 1 second on this one. Is Brian still on the phone?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so Brian, this particular unit, if we do have to replace this truck in the future, this can be removed and put on another truck, is that correct?
Yeah, this is an axle specific to that truck. So if we were buying a new truck, the issue is the front wheels are split rim that are hard to procure.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mixed it up with a different one. Okay. So it's to repair this 1999 International,
Correct.
which is the only truck that has the apparatus on it that is used to clean the catch basins.
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions before we move to a motion? Okay. Motion to fund $15,000 in repairs. I'll say axle, tire, and rim repairs. So I'll say replacement, axle, tire, and rim replacement. In the amount of $15,000 on the 1999 International truck. Is there a second?
Kathy Forrest, second. And I.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Chrissy Francona, aye.
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
Susan Franklin, aye. Okay, the next one is to replace the 1997 John Deere tractor. And it's at its end of its serviceable life, primarily used for tree and park division and for moving snow. Okay. Any comments before moving towards a motion?
Yeah, will this be leased or bonded? Can we spread it out?
it's,
For this dollar
for
value, you
this amount, we
typically
normally
wouldn't
wouldn't.
bond.
Yeah, we don't normally bond at this level. Any other comments on that?
Is there a lease available on this one, or are we just purchasing this outright?
No, this would be an outright purchase. It's not that, you can combine things into a bonding, but usually at this level, we don't bond.
Hi, Susan. Sorry to interrupt again. So we've been nailing down pricing on this tractor, and it's come in a lot more than what we anticipated originally or got estimates on. So I think we want to defer this until at least special or maybe next annual, just in case, just so we can kind of vet it a little bit further with the committee and in-house.
Okay, Brian.
That's the 75,000 for the tractor.
Mhm.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, Brian, I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks. I'll forward that quote we just received today, actually. So just for next discussions on this.
What does the quote say, just out of curiosity?
So I'm on the phone with Carl separately. He's sending the quote along now, but it came in a lot higher. It was at 150. We need to parse out what that includes and what it doesn't.
I'd say that's a bit of an increase.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. And the yard tractor, we've already voted on, so there we. Okay, so assuming the bonding, we are currently at 1,200,000. Remaining.
Susan, I didn't see the calculation come through. Did you remove the yard donkey from this calculation? Because when it was voted last, capital was not funding it. It was either going to be funded out of the reserve fund or the insurance proceeds. Based on my notes.
We did vote on it. I didn't.
You
look back
voted
at
it
my
because
notes.
it meets
we
the
voted
capital
just to-
threshold, but you weren't going to
Yeah.
fund it.
Okay.
The way
So
I
don't
understood the
have to-
last vote.
you're saying I
And
don't have
if
to
I'm
include it.
incorrect, just let me know.
Okay. Funded outside. Okay. Good to know. Thanks for the reminder. Okay. Let's see. So we have the library door to still talk about. And we have some requests from rec for repainting the basketball court in the yard lines. And then we have the fire engine, which we are waiting on the estimate for bonding. And the cameras, which we're waiting for.
And Susan,
Additional
Superintendent
information.
Shannon is on, so I don't know if you want to address the cameras now.
I'm fine having her give us a little more information on the cameras. If you can promote her.
Mm-hmm. She's coming in now.
Great.
Good morning.
Good morning. Did you have a Chicago hot dog?
I did not, but we had a lovely day in a couple days.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we had some requests from the committee for some more information on the cameras.
Okay. So I know
put in that email.
Yeah,
That's-
so I know you had sent me the email about breaking down the replacement versus new. I don't have that yet because I just sent that off to Ron this morning to help me break those two things down, where I was out most of last week. But
We also were hoping that you could elaborate a little bit on what types of one of the comments in your write-up was the comment about criminal activity, and there was a question as to what type of activity you're
Yep.
experiencing.
So I guess two things about the outside cameras. First is just general security to help us should there be any big criminal activities. In terms of activity that we currently have, I think there are a few things. I don't know that I would label it criminal as much as it's inappropriate behaviors. But often we have accidents in our parking lots where it would be very helpful if we could review some of those, and we can't always see them. We have student activity outside that would be helpful if we had cameras, you know, things like students who spray painted a building. And we can't always see what really happened, and we're relying on student reports. Other student incidents that are, again, easier to manage and apply discipline when we have cameras versus just student reports. And then also when we had the Homeland Security in to do a review, this was one of the areas where they recommended us do some enhancement because we have gaps. What the report actually shares is while the school is equipped with a robust video system, there are gaps in the overall coverage, including student parking lot, athletic fields, etc. And they suggest that we prioritize those gaps, especially stairwells, student parking lots, athletic fields, areas where the security surveillance would be supportive. And so that's really the gap that this request is trying to fill. You know, we have had incidents on the field during games with away team parents that have required the police to be called. Having the cameras when those things are happening would also be helpful. Right now, many of those areas have no coverage. And so we're really left with some gaps in being able to remedy the situations without them.
Do you, I know the Homeland Security gave you a review, and do we know how our other schools handle this? Because it seems to me like some of these things, like the last one you quoted, like what type of a resolution path would you have if you had like fan control issues, and then you had video on security camera? Like where does that take us?
So I
We
think
don't want to get
two
into
things.
like,
I think there are two paths. One is if it's students, we then apply the student discipline codes and policies. But if they're adults, then the police take that on and deal with that through the legal and police chain. But having the cameras to see how things start, how things go, is really helpful for them, just as it is for us when we're doing investigations.
Yeah. And I do recall when you presented to us also indirectly, you were talking about other equipment that's on school property that has sustained damages.
Yeah. You know, we keep a lot of our athletic equipment out there, and on the weekends, there are numerous sporting events that happen, many of which are Cohasset based, but many also, again, bring in visiting teams, and there's no school personnel out there to monitor anything because they're not school events. We rent out the facility. And so having those cameras is really helpful in those instances too. You know, I can think of many indoor examples this year where the cameras came in handy when folks were renting the spaces and we had things happen and we had to go on the cameras to see what happened and then hold the groups that were renting the space accountable for resolving the problem. The same thing happens outside, but right now we don't have the ability to manage that. We just have to take that all on ourselves.
Does anyone else have any questions or
Yeah,
comments?
what are these cameras? Are they like the flock cameras on 3A or what are they? What are they?
No, I don't believe that's what they are. If you, in the packet, when you look at the quotes, it tells what the cameras are. Honestly, Ron would be better equipped to explain the technology of the camera. I think they're just the regular cameras that we have in the building. But they're designed for outside use instead of indoor use.
I do,
If
you know,
I'm
Ron
looking
was
at
saying
it.
that these are pole-based cameras primarily.
Yeah.
And
Susan, what folder is that in? I
I
can't
think
see
they were wide view
schools.
pole-based cameras. It's
Yeah.
it's under the,
Schools.
you know, the FY
Oh, school.
27
Okay.
school.
Okay. I'm
schools.
in there. I just
Yeah, our cameras in school are just regular cameras. There are some where we can do some zooming in, but they're just regular. I actually don't really know what a flock camera is, so
Yeah.
I saw something about them. I know they're out there. But these are not those. These are just regular.
Yeah, so one of the things that Ron did bring up specifically with these cameras is they're not hardwired like the indoor cameras are, because it's too, you know, that's an expense to bring wiring to the locations where the cameras would be located. So they do require a wireless, you know, point-to-point wireless connection. So that is part of the cost of the cameras that is in front of us.
And where is the video footage? Is it kept on like a local server cloud where we like my concern, I just want to make sure from like a privacy perspective, that's where the flock cameras are an issue where they're sharing that data more
These are
globally.
school-based cameras. We can see them and the police can monitor them as well, but that's it.
Okay.
And they adequately cover the area that needs to be covered.
Yes. Ron walked through with the gentleman from the camera company and they made sure that all of the coverage was appropriate.
Well, let me weigh in on this. As what I see of this is no specification whatsoever here. To list the cameras is not a specification. So what we have done is we've accepted the fact that a salesperson, namely the person from this IOT, from whom we buy other things, has said these are the cameras we need. So what we are buying is something we don't even know what the coverage really is because no design has been done. This is really about the poorest way to actually design or to buy anything if you in fact do not have an actual specification showing the coverage, specifically what it is, and what is overlapping and what is not. This is no one in a in a real business would accept an IOT quote, which has no detail whatsoever, no engineering specification, and no ability to bid the job out, as it turns out. So this is a non-bid salesperson presenting a set of designs for cameras without any idea of exactly what the coverages really are. I've never seen anything quite so sloppy as this, and it clearly does not fit the bidding bylaws, which require us to actually have some kind of quote for something that ultimately, over a 2-year period, is a couple of $100,000. That is a lot of money to spend without having either a quote or a specification. So that's where we are with this. And to some degree, since most of these things, these cameras are not real time, they're real time, but they're not observed real time. They're only after the fact you find out who a perpetrator might be. This is really not an effective way to provide security for children. It really is not. So anyway, strong objection to this rather frequent and new desire to have surveillance almost throughout the town. I've never seen anything quite so extraordinary as this sudden explosion in the need for cameras. So anyway, very strong objections to this one.
So I guess I would just like to say that we do have more information about the cameras and the coverage, but for security reasons, we can't make those public. If we make that public, we are releasing to the world all of our security measures, which is counterproductive to best practice of security. So they weren't just placed without input, they were placed with input. They were planned with the input of the principals, with our technology team, and with the police department. But I cannot, and I know Chief Quigley would agree with me, put public documents out that release all of our security features.
So Sarah, you're saying that drove the design of the quote that we were provided by the vendor?
Yes.
So we specified to the vendor.
We specified where the camera should be, not the other way around.
What about the bidding issue though? Were there other bids?
That I can't speak to. Ron took care of that piece of this project.
So
Mhm.
we primarily use this company. They're on the state bid list. So they've already been bid out.
What do you mean, Michelle? They've already been bid out,
So
that we
there's
got
a
other
state-
bids?
Yeah, so there's a state bid list where the state bids out certain categories, and they allow you to choose from multiple vendors within that category. And this is the one that Ron has chosen for several reasons.
So we got a quote from the others in the category, you're saying?
I'm not sure if Ron has done that because this is the company that he has chosen to use out of the other ones in the category.
So what
Yeah, that
you're
gets
saying,
right back to
Michelle, so
Ralph's
what
issue
you're
though.
saying, so what you're saying, Michelle, is on a state basis, vendors bid to the state and the state approves them and says, if you select this vendor, they're on the approved list, you don't need to get any additional bids.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
That may be what the state is saying. It does not sound like it's in the best interest of our town budget.
Okay.
In other words, I do take exception to the statement that this is so private that the capital budget committee, which has to actually recommend this, can't know. And we have to take on faith all of these things. I do not believe that is correct. I don't, you may want to provide this privately to the capital budget committee, but if you're asking us to approve something, I would never approve something blindly, just based certainly not on IOT's recommendation. That makes no sense to me whatsoever, as IOT has been chosen also for things like servers and Wi-Fi distribution points and other things, also without any bidding. So this is getting down to single source for a lot of different things, and it seems as though this person cannot possibly be an expert in all of these various fields, both internet, cameras, surveillance, and everything else. It is really just a sales outfit. So this is one I can't even imagine voting this one without more data. So.
So I just want to clarify. So Ralph, even though the superintendent said that they had a assessment by Homeland Security and that the principals and the police were involved in determining where all the cameras were going to be, it sounds to me more like your issue is the fact that we keep using this vendor IOT, and you're worried that maybe we should diversify and use some other vendors, or use a vendor that's more specialized in the area of camera placement.
Well, we need expertise. You don't spend this kind of money without expertise, and it is not clear to me we've got the expertise here. And it is also, in my view, inappropriate to deny the people you're asking to approve something the information by which they can actually make an intelligent decision. And this is, as I say, this is a proliferation in the past 2 years of surveillance cameras, for which there really needs to be a broader question of where, in fact, these things are needed and why are they so important. we in the past have been quite successful in making sure that the purpose of surveillance cameras, particularly in the schools, is to make sure the children are safe in the schools. This is broadening the actual charter of these cameras to include things like potential vandalism or accidents in in the parking lot and so on. That's a bigger question. And it almost doesn't even belong within the schools. This is really a police question.
I guess my concern is I'm shocked that we don't have cameras in the parking lot yet. Like it seems really odd to me and I'm very happy that nothing has happened where we would have required cameras. But when you look at the proliferation of violence on the sidelines at sports games and things that happen after games and, referees getting shot, etc., it just feels like it's maybe a good thing to have cameras there so that you can actually clarify what actually has happened. I'm actually surprised that there's no cameras in the high school parking lot. And I'm a little worried that if we turn this down and then something does happen and there's no information in order to pursue what happened and figure out what the truth is, we might regret it. Just saying.
And I would also say that a lot of it is about students. The parking lot is very much about students. The athletic events are very much about students. Students are coming and going sometimes all the way through 10 p.m. And you never know what could happen in a parking lot to a student at that hour. It's dark. There are, we are living in crazy times. And so I think having the cameras actually does protect students first and staff actually, and then the public third.
There's almost no instance where surveillance protects anyone. It only is an after the fact ability to know who the perpetrator is. It doesn't protect anybody. It simply allows you to know who did what to whom. If you want security, you have a security person. But cameras are not security. They're something that's a post incident.
But Ralph, if you're a victim of a crime and they're able to identify the criminal, you then have perhaps made secure all the people who that criminal may have assaulted in the future.
It's nice thinking, but anyway, the truth is nothing much happens as a result of security. Just look around the world. You'll find that security hasn't done much for anybody. It only allows you to find out later on who might have done something. That's all. And nobody's looking. If you've got so many security cameras now, there's no way. In fact, you can even keep track of anything. You probably got 100 or more different screens and nobody is looking. This is only after the fact stuff.
I think after the fact is important for making sure that people are safe and that children are safe.
Well, I think what I would like to do is, I think we need to all just think a little bit more about this one. But Sarah, I would like to ask a question of, in the opinion of the parties who are involved in this process and yourself, is this something that we need to do all at once, or are there areas that we could focus on today that are of greater importance? And then do additional cameras in the future once we see that this is working the way we want it to work.
So I would say doing all of the internal cameras and the high school, middle school outside would be my priority, because of the amount of traffic we get. My second priority would be the Deer Hill outdoor cameras, because they also get a lot of traffic. And then my third would be Osgood outdoor.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. All right, so does everyone agree that we maybe need to talk a little bit more about this, or maybe think a little bit more about it independently and then get back to it in our next meeting?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, well, let's do that. I really appreciate your input today, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, so we'll put that one on hold for now. So that leaves the library and Rex requests for repainting the basketball court in the parking lot. So do you want to move on to the library door? Okay, let's do that. So recall facilities just presented this the other day, so it's for the door. It's also for the what do you call it? The light over the door, and the framing, both interior and exterior, and also electrical, because this door does have a locking mechanism that requires some small electrical work.
And can you remind me, Susan, was the library pavilion ever voted on at town hall as a capital budget committee item?
No, because it was privately funded.
Okay. So whoever privately funded did not include the door as part of what they were funding?
That's correct.
Okay.
I think they probably viewed it as an outside project and did not think about access.
I guess I'm a little bit worried about precedent setting again and having private groups fund projects partially, and then the town has to come and pick up the rest of the pieces. And this is something that a project that nobody at the town ever actually voted on. So I'm a little bit concerned about this.
Kathy, I agree. I think, again, I'm major supporter of the library generally, but I think it's, if you have a privately, it basically is holding the town hostage for money based on a project that really wasn't fully thought out. So I was just looking at Pavilion to see on the if it would have been approved by the capital budget committee, and I see there's no information on it because it was privately funded. Do we have a sense of, what their total budget was versus, where they came out? Because I'm wondering if
Yeah.
there's room there if they just fund this themselves.
We do have Rowan available. If somebody can promote her. Michelle, are you there?
Hi, I think I got promoted.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Sorry, I just wanted to weigh in a little bit on the door. I know it's really more of a facilities request. But that door, I don't know if anybody has walked back to that area of the library. It's for the last few years had a gap between the two doors of about an inch and a half that has water coming in anytime it rains. The cold air comes through. It's really failing. And so it's just sort of a combination of it happens that, yes, it's going to be the main entrance in and out through the pavilion, but the bigger problem is the door is past its useful life. So just wanted to add that information to your discussion.
And Bronwyn, so there is currently a door. This is not the door on the main street, nor is it the door in the parking lot. It's like opposite the parking lot behind this.
It's basically an emergency exit right now.
Oh, right now.
It doesn't
Okay.
really go, it just goes to that grassy area. And so it will be used quite a bit, I think, once the pavilion is open. And as I was saying the other day, when the staircase down to the lower parking lot is completed, I do think it will be a main entrance, but right now we're not using it that way.
And all of the costs, the pavilion and that staircase you're mentioning, those are all privately funded, like including the staircase?
Well, yes, a lot of it is CPC funds, South Shore Music Circus, and then fundraising by our library trust. So the town really hasn't given any funds outside of the funding I mentioned, the CPC.
So you're specifically talking about the pavilion funding was a capital campaign with private funding, but you're saying that CPC funds and other funds like grants from the South Shore Music Circus are used for some of the landscaping and improvements from the parking lot to the door.
It, the CPC wasn't restricted to only being landscaping or things like that. It's more into paying for the total cost of the project.
Paying for the pavilion project.
The pavilion, yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
sort
they
of
were
all
one of
rolled
the-
into.
One of the contributors was CPC.
Exactly, yes, yes.
Okay.
Can we ask the CPC to pay for the door?
We could. I'm a little reluctant because they were very generous. It was over 2 different years. I think it was a total of 225,000 they gave us. And I really do feel like it's a building issue more than the project issue. Like I said, the door, it's failing and it's going to need to be addressed. And even currently it doesn't keep the elements out at this time. So it's really more of an issue with the building itself.
But if we were to have kept it an emergency exit and not widen it and make it up to the current ADA standards, maybe it wouldn't. I mean, this is an expensive door, $50,000.
It is an expensive door.
Wow.
I agree with you. And I think part of it is because of the rounded window above it is really, I think, the biggest problem. We had a hard time getting any bids for it. I know Nick tried for quite a while, reached out to anyone he could think of, and a lot of companies didn't want to touch it because of the sensitive nature of the brickwork and the glass and the shape of the window.
Sounds like a community preservation issue.
I'm sorry.
It sounds like a historical preservation issue to me.
Yeah, it does. It does to a certain extent.
Can we just take out the window?
Does the window above the door match one on elsewhere in the building?
Yes, yeah, that's kind of the
style.
style. And I don't think Nick is here, but if he was, he could speak to it a little bit better than I. From what he said, it's all one piece. The door and the window above it. So, I mean, I would have been perfectly happy to just replace the door. I do think it's important to make it ADA compliant if we are going to change it out, because it is going to be, I believe, a fairly well-used entry point. So if we are going to change it, I think it would make sense to allow people access who need it.
Yeah, I might want to ask Nick a couple questions, guys, about whether the window could have, well, maybe Brian, you can answer a little bit of it, but you just said it's a single unit now, and we went out to bid for a single unit of door and window. Or are they separate items?
I believe it's all together, but again, it wasn't my I didn't have much to do with that.
Yeah, that may be what I might want to ask Nick. If we were to just buy the ADA compliant door and then do the window as a window and not try to make it into the same framing as the door, maybe it wouldn't be so expensive.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly worth asking him for more information. I mean, he had those discussions and they said, it's not possible. I'm sorry, but it really is his project, and I wasn't in on those discussions.
Yeah, I'm fine reaching back out to Nick. So it looks like the committee would like to. I would like to do that. Reach out to Nick on that question. There's some thinking that maybe we should reach back out to CPC. So we'll hold on voting on this one today and give ourselves a couple days to do a little more work. Is everyone in agreement?
Yes, it should be an exact number too. 50,000 is not an exact number.
Yeah, I think if I remember the quote, I think Nick had marked it up a little bit because some of the interior, when you take out a door and you have to fix the around it, the framing around it and integrate it with the walls. But I thought that he felt much of that would be able to be done by
internally, internal facilities, some painting and stuff. But we can clarify that too, Rob. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, so we have rec. So we have the painting of the repainting of the basketball courts, the 2 basketball courts, outdoor basketball courts at the library. Do people review that or have any other comments on it? Bring it up. This is the quote, 14,900. Initially, I think those of you who are in the meeting, you may recall that the courts, the wear, Ted was saying that the wear on the courts was a little faster than they anticipated. And that's partially a reflection of how well used the courts are, but also the fact that, sometimes the courts are being ridden on with bicycles and strollers and children's toys, and that is having an impact on the finish of the court. But it's important that it be painted one for the play, but also for the maintenance of the long-term maintenance of the surface. So that's why it's in front of us. Any comments on this one?
Well,
These are the courts. Sorry, I just have a quick clarifying question.
Yeah.
These are the courts behind the library, correct?
Yes, correct.
Where is the pickleball court?
You can, they have a net that you can just put out there and.
Oh, got it. So it'll be
Yeah.
it'll be on one of the basketball courts.
Yeah, just like it is on the tennis court. There's
Okay.
lines on the tennis
Okay.
court now for pickleball. Just one.
Got it.
line.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Ralph, sorry.
And these courts are what these courts were just done, what, 2 to 3 years ago?
3 years ago, correct.
Yeah. Right, almost brand new. Hard to believe we need to repaint them after a couple of years.
Yeah, I did actually go out there. They are pretty beat up. They do get a lot of use. They're very popular.
Susan, is this still, I know that there's, the next item is related to the basketball courts too, right? Or the parking lot? Are they related or no?
No, the parking lot is to put lines on it because there's really the lines that
okay.
are on there have been
Okay.
pretty worn and people just park
Yeah.
randomly around.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've never seen basketball courts get so much use in Cohasset. I'm not surprised that it's all worn down already. There's kids there all the time.
What makes this a capital budget committee request? Is it just the
Right.
size of it? It seems more like maintenance to me.
Well, part of what we do in capital budget is try to maintain our facilities and things. So it's not unusual to have this come before capital, and it is over 10,000, so it does meet the criteria. And we did fund the courts. Trying to remember, Ralph, we funded them, and I believe that the basketball boosters only funded the benches around the courts.
I don't recall. I thought we funded both
Yeah,
courts.
I'm pretty sure we funded the entire court, but they
That's what
just
I remember,
provided the
yeah.
benches.
Right. There is a problem when something is recurring every 2 years. That does kind of violate our real requirement that something be over 10,000 and have a longer life. So this is this kind of interesting question. Since this 14,900 is likely to come up in 2 more years, doesn't this really belong in the actual recreation department's budget year by year? Makes more sense. Again, it's distortion of the budgeting by putting things in capital which are not really capital at all. So this is one more of those examples where we have no standard for actually including this here.
Well, I do believe we have done similar kinds of maintenance, maybe not a court, but we have paid for certain maintenance on facilities. But your point about it happening more quickly than anticipated is true.
So the question is, is the finish adjusted for the fact that it's getting much more wear than than anticipated and is wearing out much more quickly? If so, that would be a reasonable for capital, but not a short term, not every 2 years or less.
Yeah, that's a good question, Ron. I think I can ask Ted to let us know that what we're doing is going to address the fact that we have high wear. But the other thing is he did specifically say that part of the degradation in the surface is that people are using the basketball court for things that aren't basketball. Feel like, hockey sticks and kids on little bicycles, and so clearly
Kids on little bicycles, that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, that's not going to wear out the surface.
No, I'm not talking rubber tired bicycles. I'm talking little kids with these bikes that are like plastic tires or wooden tires. So it seems to me we need to come up with some way to deter that from happening.
We might want to consider some signage. I mean, I'll say I'm guilty of having my toddler daughter on her little scooter on the basketball court, but I certainly wouldn't if there was a sign there.
Okay, I'll go back to Ted on that one. Is Michelle on the phone by chance?
I'm here.
Yeah. So this one, Michelle had this note. Ted wants to fund 12,003 out of the rec budget. So, but I had this number at 120.
I also have it at
Is
120.
this comment missing a zero somewhere, or?
I doubt it. He can't afford to fund $120,000 out of his budget.
Okay.
I would say he can likely find the 14,900 in his budget, with simply increasing the user fees for the basketball program, if this is going to be a reoccurring request. The basketball program is a large program, part of recreation, and I think just a small increase in his fees could likely accommodate this year-over-year painting or every couple of year painting. But as far as the parking lot, he cannot sustain that.
So this note is just kind of, I think Katie put that note in there, and I don't recall what the capital budget vote no funding required means.
I think, Susan, what that may have been is when he was asking just for line striping and not the entire, so that is for line striping and paving of that parking lot, not just line striping.
We have it as line painting, so
Yeah,
you're saying
I
it's
think
paving
if in
and-
fact it was just the line painting, I think that's the $12,000 number. But I don't know that you would paint lines on a parking lot that is way past its useful life.
Yeah, that's kind of funny that you bring that up, because I was going to bring that up. That parking lot is in pretty rough shape. Okay, so you think it's a paving and painting?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you recommend? Because we haven't really looked at it that way at all. It was, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have a rec on it or anything.
Okay, I will look into it, but I thought Brian provided the TL Edwards quote.
I don't see anything in the folder. I was just looking.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me talk to Brian about that, because I know that was Ted was working with Brian, or should have been
Yeah.
working with Brian to obtain it. Oh, and Brian's raising his hand. Hang on.
Brian's on?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, yeah, we don't have an updated quote, but the 120, you're right, it will cover paving. The majority of that is paving, and then the striping is the short money on that. But we're getting an updated quote this spring, but that value will cover paving and striping.
I think the other question in this one, doesn't this really belong in roads and sidewalks?
I don't believe roads and sidewalks accounts for parking lots, does it, Brian?
So yeah, we have used it for it, but I mean, the priority right now, we have the list of roads, we get 800,000 a year. Where plus we just got a little over 300 from Chapter 90. That's what we have planned for roads this year exceeds that amount. So we're getting our quotes, we're truncating, and so we can't support, at least in this year, the parking lot there. But it has been used, town parking lots from roads and sidewalks in the past.
Brian, would it make sense to push this off to special, get a solid quote and have it done in the spring?
We could do that, yeah. I mean, so with the pavilion work down there, you can see it's a kind of construction zone. We could live with the parking lot for another year. It's in pretty rough shape, but yeah, that's an option.
It is, and the only reason why I say that is by time the construction wraps up and all the vehicles are out, I think we may be running up against camp. So I don't know that we could shut down that parking lot during the summer months. So maybe next spring would be most beneficial for this project.
And just to note that the parking lot is used for pretty much every music circus event. So
do they
used in the summer?
Kathy or others, do they pay for that usage at all? It seems like if part of the issue is for them, they should be contributing towards us, not just the town.
Well,
I mean, they're a pretty good, I think they're a pretty good community partner, so.
Yeah, I don't think, so they don't advertise. I mean, everyone knows where they can park in town. I don't think they advertise like, hey, park there. I think there's ample room for their shows in their parking lot, but people don't want to wait in line. So they do the senior center, they do there, and then they walk over.
Correct. Okay, I think that's a good suggestion, Michelle. It seems to make sense with all the activities and with the current construction going on in the area. So we're going to defer it to spring.
I would
Special
defer
meeting?
the request to special so then we could have the work done in spring.
Okay.
And also if he's going to have the basketball courts repainted, I mean, there's just a lot of activity piling up for that one little area. And I don't know that it makes sense to add another thing.
Yeah. And Brian, by that time you'll have a more formal quote anyways, right?
Yes, yeah, we should have it within the next 2 months. And just in regards to painting, we'll probably, paint the striping, even though, we paint every year, so I think we can get some striping on that this year, and even though it's not an ideal pavement surface, so that people aren't just all over the place.
I'm sorry, I was typing in. I didn't hear everything that you said. So you're saying you could do some striping work?
Yeah, I was saying we can include it in our striping for this year, just so we have the spots, marked.
Okay. All right, so I'll still go back to Ted and get the information, but potentially, Michelle, you're saying that the increase in the program could cover this today, or would that be in the for future painting, or both?
I think they could likely cover it today.
Okay. All right, but I'll leave it on there for now.
Okay.
So that just leaves the engine for the fire department. And was Linda able to get back to you on that, Michelle? No,
So
not yet.
Linda's out of the office. Dan Mulligan got back to me and he estimated extremely high interest rates. Let me see what he came back with. Sorry. He said at about 6.5% would be $163,500 per year.
For how many years? 10?
Um, 10 years, yes.
You said 6 what?
6.5% is what he used.
Mhm.
And you think that's pretty high, Michelle?
I do.
Mhm.
I think we're looking at an interest rate closer to the fours, low to mid fours at this present time. And if in fact, I know we talk a lot about, putting all the borrowings together, you get a better
Mhm.
rate. So
Yeah, okay. So we should hold on that too and find out whether consolidating it with other bonding items will improve the rate.
mhm.
Okay,
But the worst case scenario would be 163.5.
okay. All right, everyone, so where we are at the end of all this, we have a couple questions on the cameras. We did get some guidance on if we were to do it piecemeal, let's see. She said
We didn't talk about the football uprights, Susan.
they had already removed that one.
Oh, it's removed? Okay.
Well, it was on your spreadsheet, Michelle, was it not?
I believe that that should have been removed, yes.
Yeah. Should be in the deferral column here.
Can we circle back to the security cameras? How do we move that forward? There seems to be a lot of questions, a lot of information that we don't want to discuss in open session.
Mhm.
Would it make more sense to have an executive session to discuss the cameras? I don't know how to move that forward. And because there's a lot that just can't be discussed in an open meeting.
Yep.
You also have a question.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want me to pull it up?
Yeah, do you guys
Okay.
see it on my screen?
Oh, Jake Squatrito, 31 Ash Street. I just want to emphasize that security is one of the exemptions for bodies such as select board and school committee to enter executive session. Yes, that is true. And that would hold true for you as well.
Okay,
Thanks, Jake.
that does sound like the way to proceed then. So we would have an executive session prior to our meeting next week to do the final voting on these other items.
You can have the executive session for discussion. I would open back into regular session for your voting.
Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
recommendation.
Yep, yeah. So mechanically, Michelle, do we have to actually, do we just adjourn from the executive session and then
Yes.
open all in the same?
Yep, so you'd open
meeting.
your meeting, you'd go into executive session, you'd adjourn your executive session and come back into your public meeting for your voting purposes.
Okay. So if we're gonna have that meeting with the executive session, then will we be able to share the information that Ralph was requesting? No, we still
We-
can't.
You
No.
can't share the information. The information would have to stay in executive session.
No,
That's
no,
the
no, I
purpose
mean,
of it.
to the committee in executive session.
They'll never do it.
It would be shared with us during.
Yes,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
committee would hear though.
Yeah. Okay,
It's just,
otherwise why do it if we can't
yeah, you
answer the
just,
question? Okay. All right, then let's move forward with that.
okay.
All right, so we have a little work to do to collect some more information for everybody. And I believe that we discussed, Michelle, remind me again when the warrant article was due.
April 1st is the final warrant articles.
The draft was
Due
when?
date, however, select board and advisory are going to start voting this week. So if we could wrap this up next week, that would be ideal.
Yeah. All right, so that would be the 16th. We could try to wrap it up on the 16th. That works, right, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll have an executive session followed by our final votes of public voting meeting on the 16th.
Sure. And for the 16th, do we like these morning meetings? Would you prefer an evening meeting?
I actually like and prefer the morning, but I'm flexible.
I'm open either way.
Me too. It doesn't, either way is fine.
So how do people want to do it? We want to do it again in the morning? That would allow us time after the meeting, Michelle and I, time to get the article completed.
If no one objects, let's have a 9 o'clock meeting again on Monday.
Sure.
Okay. And I'll put the executive session exemption in.
Yep.
And
So
just to let you know too, they'll just expect 2 links, one for executive and one for regular.
Okay, so that was my question, whether there's actually 2 separate links. Okay, so we leave the meeting, close the window, and then reopen a new session under a different link.
We wouldn't close the open meeting, we'd keep it open.
But
So
yes,
we'd
you leave the meeting and go back into the executive session and then come back into the other one. I know there's another way to manage it, where I can remove everybody and just put them into a holding room.
Mhm. However you want to do it, just if you can
Okay.
just make sure that what we post is aligned with what we're doing.
So for next week's meeting, I just want to make sure that my notes are correct. We're going to look at the security cameras in an executive session, vote in public session, and we're also going to vote the replacement of the engine, the Paul Pratt exterior doors, and
Cameras. Oh, you said the cameras.
yep. So those are the only items outstanding.
No, the bonding of the fire engine, we haven't voted on and made a motion on it yet. We're gonna see what we get back on.
Yep.
Okay, then.
And will the public safety building be part of next Monday, or is that going to be separate?
Christy, they're not going to get a quote in hand from what I understand until the 13th. I don't know if it'll be ready for prime time on the 16th.
I think Michelle, the meeting, right now, the Public Safety Facilities Committee was meeting on the 17th
Okay.
of March. So the day after. So I don't think it'll be ready by the 16th.
So the only other thing I can recommend is we asked the select board and advisory board for a joint meeting on the 19th to discuss public safety. I don't know how this committee feels about having 2 meetings in 1 week, but maybe it might be advantageous to have all 3 committees there to discuss the same topic since you're all the voting members for the warrant article. I don't know how anyone feels about that, but
I think it's a great idea.
It's most efficient use of time for sure.
okay. So right now we're looking at the 19th at 7:30 p.m.
In the meeting next Monday, the 16th, is that an evening one or is that a morning one now?
We're talking about the morning for that one. That's a 9 a.m. meeting.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
7:30.
And Thursday would be 7:30 p.m.
Okay. Yeah. Will people be able to do that? It's just the way the logistics are working out in order to get all this done on time for the warrant.
That's fine with me.
Okay. All right.
In
The
that
only other thing that I had on the agenda, there was a set of minutes that we could knock down. Did everybody get them?
Yes.
Susan, was that in your email? I saw you reference minutes, but I did not see an attachment.
I followed up with an attachment.
It took me a while to get there, but it is in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I found it in the end. No. I move much more slowly than most normal human beings.
Yeah, there was a link to the sheet we just followed, but then separately there was an attachment to the email. So
Correct.
Yeah, right here. Was on, so it came in the email that was sent at 10:07 on the 7th as an attachment. If you don't have it, Chrissy, we can just hold off and do it in the follow-on meeting because it's kind of long.
Yeah, I apologize. I do see it now. Let me
That's fine.
I'll review it in advance.
Okay, so we'll move that activity to next week. Next Monday. All right then. Well, it's nice spending my morning with you guys.
Thank you,
Same here.
everyone.
All right
have,
then.
have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Kathy, enjoy your time in the UK.
So
Thank
we just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Roll call.
Kathy Forrest, aye.
Chris Peisch, aye.
Chrissy Francona, aye.
Rob Casemeyer, aye.
All right then. Great, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the sunshine.
Thank you, Susan.
Kathy, do
Thank
you want to
you.
hang on for 1 second?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye. I found my way out of here. It always takes me a second when I'm sharing. 1 second. Let me stop sharing and I'll get out.
Take your time.
Ah.
Okay. So I received your email about the tax calculator.
Yeah.
So Kyle Hannon has been working on that. It's been ready since November and based on the median. So I think we can get that working pretty quickly. I know you're
Okay.
away and you probably don't want to be in meetings the entire time. Do you want me to have him get a demo and I can send it to you and you can see how it works and then we can talk about it just so you can see the functionality of it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah. And is that something that that Kevin is going to be able to pop up on the website pretty quickly for people to?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we
That'll
were
be
just
easy.
talking about the fact that the number's going to come out soon, and we would like to always, with the number, put the average annual tax impact number with it,
Sure. You want average or median?
or median, is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also to be able to tell people that they can go online and put their own appraised value in and see what the cost would be.
Sure. Okay. Yep. We'll get that up in short time, after
All
you
right.
run through the demo.
Yeah.
And the church. So
Yes.
I spoke to other people that would be interested in bidding for our, I guess,
Yeah.
space, and they're not going to bid. So we can do a
Okay.
sole source procurement and just move
Okay, great.
forward.
Okay, awesome.
So we're going to get that working. And what we're targeting a time frame of June, July. Does that work for you?
Yes. Yes, because I think that's right. Because everybody was like thinking, oh, March, and I'm like, it's not going to be March. And it would be great if it could be kind of phased as well, because it'll take some time for everyone to move out.
Mhm.
Should we send you like a letter of intent? Like, how do you want to? Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
okay,
That would be great. And then
okay.
if you don't mind, we're going to have IT come by and take a look. Because I
Yes.
think they're going to extend the fiber just to the pole so we can use fiber in that building
Yeah,
to eliminate any, Wi-Fi outages that we may have.
yeah, that's great.
And then I would love to have Lisa Legg come through and look at the space just for her needs because she is one of the most public-facing offices, and I
Yeah,
want to make sure that
yeah,
she has a space that she's comfortable
yeah.
in.
So a couple of things are going on. First of all, we are getting our fire alarms replaced. So that will be done. We also had Clark do a walkthrough of the spaces, just to look at things like security and I'm not sure we're like fully ADA compliant with what you guys would normally have, but I'm not sure what the requirements are given that it's a short-term lease.
Mhm.
So he's, identified some stuff. He also identified some heating poles where there's wrap, and we're a little worried that it's probably asbestos, so we're going to get all of those rewrapped so they're a
Okay.
little safer. But that was the only thing
Okay.
he
And as
noted.
far as
But
ADA, I mean, we've been dealing with that with Historic Town Hall for quite some time.
yeah,
So we'll make sure that we have our public facing offices on the first floor in spaces that are accessible. And
yeah,
the back offices will be in those areas. So
okay,
in fact, someone comes in and needs to speak to someone, we can always come down.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So we shouldn't worry too much about the
I
ADA
wouldn't.
aspect.
I
Okay,
wouldn't.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, good.
Okay. Great.
All right then. All right, great.
All
Thanks,
right.
Michelle.
Thank you. Enjoy your time.
Okay, yep. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.